Hey boys and girls, Bored Now back with you. On this video I'm going to be talking about the White Lotus Season 3 Episode 4. It's called Hide or Seek, full spoilers from the start of this review. And the hide or seek of the title is because of a conversation between Gary and Timothy at one point. So it's discussed that you either retire to Thailand for one or two reasons. One is because you're hiding from something, or alternatively because you are seeking something or looking to take something. This boat trip this week should really spice things up again, and I would say that's definitely true. I much preferred this episode to last week's, and it feels like we're back in the groove of the season again. It's even a better plot for the Jocelyn trio this week, I would say, and it's with them that I'm going to start. I'll get to the boat trip a bit later, but starting off with the group of girls, Jocelyn calls a boyfriend who she's clearly missing. He's also an actor, but she just gets the voicemail. He is working on a film, so I think it's implied then his career is probably going a bit better than hers is. The room is very quiet, empty, and she clearly feels lonely, so it's a good simple shot. The girls want to try something more exciting than just another massage day. We're not dead yet, let's live a little. They asked Valentine to recommend a fun place. Lacey recommended. Jocelyn is latched onto by a couple of older Aussie women, one of which recognises her from TV. They are impressed the girls are staying at the White Lotus. They couldn't get in. One of the women says her husband died in November. Jocelyn at least fakes sympathy. The other woman, not to be upstage, says her husband died in 2019. Very random, and I'm not even sure why it was as funny as it was, but it was, and Jocelyn's sort of stunned reaction was pretty great. Looking around, Jocelyn notices everyone on the beach is old. So she has another choice line, which is, "What is this, some bargain home for retirees?" And Jocelyn, at first as like an awkward celebrity, but then caught between trying to be nice, flattered that someone knows who she is, only to show her shallow side so easily in the next moment. This also nails people in their 40s being self-conscious about life passing them by, desperately trying to cling on to their youth. So it's an interesting contrast, because the older women on the beach who latch on to Jocelyn are just living their life quite carefree, even though they are later in their life. And it shows a little bit of a class divide as well, and that's definitely a theme in White Lotus. Later, Jocelyn chews out Valentine for sending them to such a crappy beach. Under pressure from the girls, he is dragged away to show them somewhere better. And that's pretty funny, because he's insisting, "I can't go with you, I've got to stay, I'm working." He shows them to a club that's down the street, but he warns them about a weird local custom when on the full moon, locals carry water guns. So anyone from Thailand who watches this video, let me know please, is this a real custom? The locals start shooting at the girls. Must be because they're strangers, I'm guessing. We get a chase through the street, then run into a shop. They want to know if there's another exit, but the guy doesn't seem to understand them. And two kids, because everyone else has run on, or they're sort of shooting at each other, but there's two kids waiting outside the door of the shop for them. This is a different sort of humour than we normally get from the show. It's maybe a bit too on the cartoonish side, but it's fun enough. The girls' plot's still not connecting with the others, but it was better this week, as I said. Michelle Monaghan is very good in the episode.
Getog once again asks Morg out on a date. She's again quite nervous and not sure. She points out she has a big performance later for the Full Moon Festival, so we're building towards that, which is going to be in the next episode, and she dazzles him and us in her show outfit, which is very striking and stunning. So I found out this week that Morg is played by real-life member popular K-pop band Blackpink, so Louisa from Blackpink making her acting debut. You'll get to use some of her real-life performance skills in the next episode.
That's the shit that's never getting bounced on ya. Bitch, I do the money dance. I just made a honey best. When the stars say sign for it, I'ma leave my autograph.
This being Lisa's first acting role might explain why she's only really been in the show in and out, some short bursts of her. I think she's pretty solid, really, considering it's her first acting role, and she's very adorable. It's easy to root for her and to worry about her because of the way the plot could go. So she asks if he's got his promotion yet. He hasn't. He says he'll catch her performance later, and she really wants him to see it. I better see you, she says. This is over two conversations. Guttrick is warned by Fabian that his job performance is slipping, and this is because of the robbery a couple of weeks ago with crime going up on the island. He says his job is only protected by the owner. He's left with a security officer who gives him a gun and a key to a drawer where it's kept. Later, when he's talking to Morg, Guttrick gets distracted, leaves the drawer open, and when he returns, the gun goes missing. So more on this later. So to the main plot. Saxton bugs his family with his noisy milkshake making. The noise of those machines are fucking annoying. Piper says girls are not impressed by that stuff anyway. Saxton challenges her back with a typically cringe remark. Victoria is miffed that her pills have gone missing. Timothy, who is wasted pretty much the whole episode, is too embarrassed to admit he took them. In a callback from season 1, we get a cringe full-on dick shot just to remind us it is a HBO show and to highlight that Timothy is completely wasted. This was like the shot of Steve Irwin's tackle in a very different context from the first season. The family mostly groan, though Saxton sees the funny side. After her near-death experiences the past 2 weeks, Chelsea says bad things come in threes. This could be some Final Destination shit. This is a fun reference, and don't forget there's a running theme of bad things happening on transport in that franchise. Maybe that could become a running theme in this show as well. When heading to the boat, Rick bumps into the therapist in reception and says he won't see her again on the trip because he's going to Bangkok tomorrow. He does seem sorry as he's been able to open up to her, and they have a sweet moment saying their goodbyes. It was nice meeting you, they both say. So to the boat itself. This, of course, was the boat that Tonra's money brought, which led to her death in season 2. Boy, that stings. The introductions are awkward. Gary tells Victoria he's a retired government employee. Intriguing. Victoria hates every moment on the boat and dismisses Chloe as Miss Congeniality. Yes, she's bang on form. Timothy sneaks away for more pills. Piper asks Lachlan's support at dinner later, saying she's going to tell her parents about her plans to live in Thailand. Lachlan says he'll miss her. Piper wants her brother to say something positive in her favour to the parents. This is a sweet moment and shows he could actually be closer to his sister than to his brother, despite Saxton aggressively pursuing him and forcing him into his same sort of lifestyle. Saxton calls his brother over as they keep trying to impress girls on the boat. Lachlan says they're all taken. Saxton replies, "Who cares? They're all geriatric bald-headed losers." Rick couldn't be any more bored with the obnoxious, slimy business guys. He says if he ever needs advice on how to cheat on his taxes and screw over the government, he'll call them. Rick just gets more and more likeable. Completely gone out, Timothy deadpans, "Thank God my parents are dead." Isaacs just gets better also. Victoria frantically searches for her missing pills, and we get a bit of the hyper-tense piano score from the previous season, which was a fun callback. Piper thanks her dad for taking them on the trip. This is a nice moment, but it's also kind of depressing since Timothy is only really listening because he's high as a kite. Victoria cuts in looking for her pills. Piper says she doesn't need them to relax, but Victoria is paranoid about being trapped on the boat with people I don't know or want to know. Piper tells her mum not to be so judgmental, and that's funny because Piper herself doesn't seem like she's having the best sort of time. Victoria scolds Piper for talking to her in that manner. Classic Posey reaction. Gary watches from the top deck as Lachlan chats up Chloe. Finally, Chelsea takes Rick aside and insists he tell her the truth about why he's going to Bangkok. Rick says he's going to find the man who killed his father, which he believes is the co-owner of the resort. Rick's mother gave him the details on her deathbed. Chelsea's puzzled but sad look is effective, once again hitting a 10 on the pop culture meter. She asks, "Is this you killed my father, prepare to die type thing?" Chloe tells Gary of her plans to go to the Full Moon Festival with Saxton, Chelsea and Lachlan. She invites him, but he doesn't want to go and says he has something to do. He agrees that they can drop him off and go on to the party. Gary tells Timothy he's happy to live in Thailand because he's sick of the rat race. This is when he poses the question to Timothy about whether he's come here to hide or seek something. Timothy simply says he's just on holiday. Piper is disappointed that Lachlan won't be at dinner to back her up. Saxton says they'll be late. Timothy is too high to put up a fight, and Victoria disapproves but doesn't object too much either. Chelsea, showing real concern, tries to talk Rick out of going to Bangkok, pointing out that he doesn't know for sure it's his dad's killer, and that's a good point. Rick is convinced and he goes anyway. So this once again raises the stakes. What is going to happen now that these two are separated? What's going to happen when Rick goes to Bangkok? Victoria is again in rip-roaring form after leaving the boat. What was that, a convention of hitman and con men? Preaching to Piper that people like that don't only exist in bad movies. When she rips into them for moving to Thailand to avoid paying taxes, her daughter questions if they've ever done the same. Victoria says not to the same extent, adding, "Piper, you're lucky your dad's a Boy Scout. He doesn't go off to other countries chasing girls half his age." Some have suggested, by the way, that this is a pointed remark from Victoria to her husband, and have also read it as she knows about his illegal activities and ratted on him to the FBI I didn't read the scene or the comment as that. It just seemed to be a typical Victoria line, but who knows? I can certainly see what they're getting at. This causes a reaction from Timothy, who runs to reception demanding his phone back. He finds lots of missed calls from his lawyer. Timothy learns that his business partner has made a deal with the feds. Timothy freaks out at the thought of having his assets frozen. His lawyer advises him to make a deal, as he may only get a few years in federal prison, which his lawyer assures him isn't too bad, which sort of suggests that maybe the lawyer has spent a bit of time in federal slammer. Timothy threatens his lawyer, saying he'd rather die. Around the time of Gutek losing the gun, Timothy can be seen pacing the halls in a rage, putting him in the frame for someone who might have stolen the gun. And by the way, Belinda spots Timothy in the lobby, so could she be put in danger somehow? We know from this episode her son is on his way to meet her in Thailand, and we saw him in the opening of the first episode as the one who hears the shots and comes running, finding the body in the pool. So this ups the stakes very nicely. If Timothy has stolen the gun, will he end up being the shooter? And who will be on the other end? This also puts Gutek and possibly Morg at risk. This also raises the stakes because Gutek now has to try and find the gun in time before anything happens and before his employers find out, so it becomes a beat the clock type thing. Belinda researches Gary and finds out that he's wanted for questioning by the Rome police after the mysterious death of Tanya. He is on the run. Later on, Gary also researches Belinda too. So does he have designs on her if he sees her as a threat? So it's all very enticing, a very enjoyable, meaty episode. Lots of fun, lots of good dialogue and tension. And it's building up nicely to the next episode where we will have the full moon party and some of the stuff that comes out of that. So, yeah, after a bit of a weaker episode last week, The White Lotus Season 3 back in the groove. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Share me out on social media. Let me know what you're thinking of this season. And I'll be back with more White Lotus soon.
I just want some attention.
What happens at these parties?
Everyone gets laid. There's something I need to tell you both. I need to figure out what makes me happy.
Laura, you're a very, very sexy dancer.
I may need another favor from you.
Something really bad's gonna happen.
Rick's a hothead. He's mental.
Would he kill you?
Gary might kill me.
You do everything right so they can come along and upend everything.
I cannot find something. I think you have it.
Plot twist, out of the blue, just